You know, I have been a wrestling fan since 1993. Okay? I grew up on WCW. My grandfather raised me on NWA WCW. Got into WWE in the late 90s. Then got into TNA in the early 2000s. Ring of Honor was the mid 2000s, but I never really cared for Ring of Honor. ECW late 90s. And I bring all this up to say that I like professional wrestling. Right? And AEW comes along. And I like AEW. And I like WWE. So tell me why AEW has found a way for me to not like it right now. Because yesterday, or I should say on Sunday, me and my son went to AEW Dynasty. I have never been to an AEW show before. I have been to WWE. I have been to Ring of Honor. I have been to House of Hardcore. I have been to Evolve. I have been to WWE. I have been to WrestleMania. I have been to Royal Rumble. I have been to a lot. Hell, Elimination Chamber, or Extreme Rules, Battleground. I saw I put Johnny Prison match. I've been to a lot of wrestling events. Some that were great, some that were not so great at all. But I've never been to an AEW show, and I've never been to a wrestling show in the Liacouras Center. Now, we're from Philly. So when they said that AEW Dynasty was coming, I was like, well, we're not, I don't usually get the AEW pay-per-views. And most of the time they are good, but I'm just like, right now, the way my thing is set up, $50 for a pay-per-view or $60 for a pay-per-view, I'm like, bro, until y'all can figure that thing out on Max, like WWE do, or have a cut in half discount, I can't do that. So it's coming to the Liacouras Center. And the Liacouras Center, for those who've been Liacouras Center, it's not like it's a smaller venue. It can hold about a couple thousand, like maybe about 6,000-7,000 people that it can hold, and it's only 2 levels. So even if you're at the top level, you still got a good seat to see what's going on. So the Chiefs were cheap enough that I went there and got it. And Tony Khan has a problem. Okay, Tony Khan has a problem with how he books these shows. Tony Khan has a problem with how he books AEW pay-per-views. Tony Khan has a problem with how he books his storylines in AEW. Because yesterday, I saw a lot of things. I saw how energetic Philly was, because I was there. I have footage of this. I'm going to make a vlog for you guys later about that. I know how energetic they are. But I also know when we were restless and tired and all that other bullshit. And here's my thing. I purposely didn't go to the pre-show. I left my house at 7. Going down there so we can get there at 8, so we get there at the start of the show. And once again, it's Sunday. It's not Saturday, it's Sunday. And they got the show starting at 8. And I was like, Tony, please don't have this going past midnight. Because you know it's going to be a 4-hour show, right? And you try to brace yourself for it, but you're still never really ready for it. Especially when it's not even one of the main shows. It's Dynasty. They just started this thing up last year. It's a B show. It's a B show. And I missed the whole pre-show. And then it comes to find out that on this pre-show, I found out later what the hell was on the pre-show, and it made me even more mad. They had some Nick Wayne match in there. I didn't care too much about a trios match with AR Fox, who never was going to win anything, and not take like Top Flight and all that shit like that. But here's my biggest thing. They had a pre-show match with the returning Anthony Bowens taking on the Max Caster, who has his gimmick of being the best wrestler in the world, getting squashed. The Acclaim was one of the hottest tag teams AEW ever had. And then for them to have his partner return, to have their match, number 1, it's on the pre-show, and number 2, it's only 40 seconds? Make it make sense. So I was already pissed off about that, but then we get to Dynasty, and the thing about Dynasty was, there was so much good on this card that's going to get overlooked by that fuck finish at the end. And we was pissed at the end. We waited 4.5 hours to be rewarded at the end of that show, and Tony Khan said, fuck you. But in his mind, he's doing long-term storytelling, but this story ain't working. We're done. This is the Death Riders has got to die. It's over. Let me tell you something. Philly, was not feeling no Death Rider shit. Wheeler Yuta was in Philly, and we gave him booed him all throughout the night. Okay. And then the John Moxley thing, we was really hyped. Everybody was hyped on Swerve when we was there. But I said, I hope, because even myself was asking, do you think Swerve gonna win? I'm like, bro, it's Dynasty. He should win. And go into All In Texas and probably defend that thing against Hangman Page and to really, finish out the rivalry. But no, we didn't get it. We had a return tonight, which I will get into, that really made all of us, when it happened, we booked it. I mean, we cleared out. We all left at the same damn time. And it made me frustrated. It made me mad that we waited there. I didn't get back home in the morning until 1:30 in the morning. Now, I had my son with me, and he's 15, so he's in high school, so he had school the next day. But here's the thing, and once again, people can come at me for the parenting thing and all stuff like that. It was like, listen, I was like, I'm hoping about it at 12, and I wanted to leave before the main event so I can get back home in time. But I was like, I have a feeling that Swerve can pull this off, and he can do the right thing. Because why would you have two shitty finishes back to back AEW between Revolution and Dynasty? And once again, every day's gonna be overlooked. You cannot have a great crossover if you miss the shot. It's how you finish that show, and they couldn't finish that show. And oh my God, it frustrated me. So here's what I'm going to do. I was there live, so I didn't get to see pay-per-view, so I didn't hear no commentators or anything like that. So I'm going to get into the matches, just how I like them from a live standpoint. I'm not going to get into a full breakdown of all the matches, unless there's some spots that I am going to talk about, like in that triple threat match, which I thought was the match of the night. But we're going to go into this, because we kick off Dynasty. When we came in there, it was Will Ospreay taking on Kevin Knight, which was an Owen Hart Cup tournament qualifying match. And here's another thing I got to talk about. So when I went to the AEW pay-per-view, there are differences of how Tony Khan runs pay-per-views and how WWE runs their pay-per-views, right? And honestly, Tony Khan is a match. And I'm like, whoa, there's no downtime. There's no breathing room. So you got to, and the way he wants to have all the rest of the matches, like, you got to find, everybody needs a bathroom break. Everybody needs a break to go out there and get their food and stuff like that. And he don't have no calm down. And then on top of that, he stacks these cards with matches that don't even need to be on here. And I'm sorry, the match between Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight was a really good match. Kevin Knight is really good. He just signed, and he's replacing Jay White because Jay White is injured. It was a nice opener. There was some near fall. There was some. It was a good, great sequence towards the end of the matchup. But Will Ospreay comes out on top, which he should. Okay, nobody thought that Kevin Knight was going to be Will Ospreay on a pay-per-view. But I was like, okay, fine. But it's Will Ospreay. You want to get him on the show? Understand. But now the next match, the second match up, is we have a tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Hurt Syndicate taking on the Learning Tree of Big Bill and Brian Keith, the Bad Apple. As much as I love the Hurt Syndicate, as much as I love the Hurt Business in WWE, this match did not need to be on the card. And it was 11 minutes long. And it was the same thing of Big Bill coming in there and squaring with Bobby Lashley and him being the dominant one, but they can beat up Brian Keith. And in the matchup on the outside, MJF kind of distracted Big Bill, and Lashley speared him on the outside, and then him and Sheldon, beat up Brian Keith in the middle and won the matchup. So it's furthering the storyline with MJF and the Hurt Syndicate. But guess what? This is a match for Collision. This is a match for Dynamite. This is not a match for Dynasty. Am I happy I got to see the Hurt Syndicate live in person out there and get to do all their chant stuff like that? I'm happy for all that stuff. But however, I know, as much of a fan as I am, this match don't belong on the card. So then we get to our next match, which is another Owen Hart qualifying match, which is for the women. It's Mercedes Moné versus Julia Hart, which honestly this could be a pay-per-view matchup, but once again there was really no build up to this. It was just like, it's part of the tournament, let's just put it in there, which Mercedes is going to win this matchup. And Julia Hart, it was like, she's fine, she's good, and what she is, she ain't no bum, but there was no build up to this. There was no heat behind this. There was no heat behind the first 3 matches in the pay-per-view. So you're just watching matches, which is like, you could do it on Dynamite. This is the pay-per-view, and we in Philly. Okay? Mercedes Moné beat Julia Hart, and I think she put her like they call it the seatbelt pin. That was fine. I expected her to win anyway. And now for the first 3 matches, like, once again, it was a cool experience seeing Mercedes Moné come out, the fireworks. And once again, when you're in the League Court Center, it's not as big as the Wells Fargo Center. So them fireworks and those flames, they're very intimate. You can feel, we on the top section, you can feel the heat from the flames. And then the fireworks is like right there in your face. Like, them things is loud.
He got scared of fireworks.
It's kind of like the equivalent of being close to the stage when the fireworks go off in a Wells Fargo Center, right? So Mercedes Moné moves on. So then we get a trios match, which is the Death Riders, Claude Castagnoli, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta, taking on Rated FTR, Cope, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Hardwood. Now, in this matchup, I was into this matchup, and let me tell you something. We had a couple people there that was like, Cope fans for real. But once again, we all sung the song and everything, and it felt like a big deal. For that, and I kind of already knew what this match was heading to. Dax starts off the matchup, and and once again, it was the tension of, not being because him and Pac started off, and Pac was like out wrestling him, and then Wheeler and Cope had to really, like boost him up. But in the matchup, it was still a good 6-man, and Dax has at one point. I don't know which member was it, Wheeler Yuta, because we shitted on Wheeler Yuta. We had the fuck Wheeler Yuta chance and everything. Philly hated Wheeler Yuta, so he got some heat in Philly. And then Claudio had Cash in the sharpshooter as well. And Dax and Cash both say each other. Then Cope had the crossface on Pac, I believe. And then Claudio and Dax started slapping each other before they started having a slap fight in the middle of the ring. But then there's one point where Dax is on the floor. Cash about to go tag get Cope, but then Dax starts to put his hand in there and gets tagged in. Now the way the match ends, God, how can I remember how the match ends? Cope is about to go for the spear, and I think he's about to go for the spear on Yuta, and he gets out the way and almost hits Dax, but he stops himself, and then they knock Cope into Dax, and then Dax gets Psycho knee by Wheeler Yuta. It has to be. And then he loses the matchup. After the match, Cope asks Dax to help him up. They get up. And then they all hug. But then all of a sudden, Dax hits Cope and hits him with a pile driver. As expected, Will's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then Dax goes outside to get chairs and hit him for a concerto. And Cash was like, "No, we're not going to do that." And he pushes him back. And then he helps Cope up. And then they give him a shatter machine. And I was like, okay, he'll and then people would always like really like, oh man, they turned on Cope. I knew Cope was coming. Even my son was into it. Like, they turned on Cope. And then they about to give him a concerto. Cash was like, no, let me do it. And gives it to him twice. And then the stretcher comes out there, and Cash Wheeler has like the little neck brace on, and they go on the stretcher and they start doing fake CPR, and he takes it off and throws it, and they go to the back, so they wheel off Edge in the stretcher. So this is obviously what I thought was going to happen, that he was going to have a match with FTR probably at All In, because All In is like, once again, like their WrestleMania. So it's going to be in Texas for the stadium show, and I think not the rumor, but what I would suspect that would probably be him and Christian if that's possible, to go up against FTR, which Edge and Christian reunited for FTR, that would be kind of dope. So I think that's the direction that they were going. So the match was pretty good. I had no problem with the matchup. Then they had the next match, Timeless Toni Storm taking on Megan Bayne for the AEW Women's Championship. So Megan Bayne comes out and she has this Greek goddess, like she just walked out of Themyscira type look. Toni Storm it says, now featuring our feature presentation, the lights go out that we see her doing like the Rocky montage and training, because we're in Philly, so Rocky Balboa, right? So she comes out with the boxing gear on, the old school boxing gear with Luther. And this matchup told a very simple story, because Megan Bayne is a powerhouse, and Toni Storm can just figure out how can she just get to this woman. She tries to go attack her, but these things don't work, and they shoulder blocks, and then she just gets tossed all around. Megan Bayne is like dominating her. And there's one point Megan Bayne dives to the outside, takes out Luther, and Penelope Ford is with Megan Bayne at this time. And then there's times that Penelope Ford is trying to get over on Toni Storm, and hold her head down the ropes, but then Luther gets back up and puts Penelope Ford on his shoulders and takes her to the back. So we're done with the managers in this matchup. There was a spot that Megan Bayne was on the top rope, but facing backwards, and Toni Storm goes up to give her like a avalanche German suplex, but she rotated and she fell square on her face, like to the point where I was like, this woman could be concussed. Now, she was able to continue the matchup. We didn't get no exercise or anything like that, but when they showed the replay, she hit the thing hard. It could have been so much worse. Like, if she took the German suplex, she could have fell right ahead and cracked the neck. But she over-rotated, which probably did save her, but she splatted right on her face. Toni Storm gives about 3 sweet cheek musics, and then she gets a Storm Zero, but then Megan Bayne kicks out at 1. So I was like, oh, they giving her the strong kick outs that they actually may pull the trigger here. But I should have known better, though. I should have known better. And honestly, I'm not mad at that, because I still think Toni Storm should be the one that goes into All In as a champion, though, right? So she goes for her F5 finish. I forgot what her the goddess has fallen to type finish, and she called it, but it's the F5. But then she's caught slacking, and Toni Storm rolls her up and wins the matchup. So she wins the match, not decisively, but she just by the skin of her teeth, which does protect Megan Bayne in a way to the point where she could get another rematch, or it could be something that, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they want to do like run it back at Double or Nothing, or if they actually gonna take the title off of her, or are they trying to, is Tony Khan trying to wait till All In to have all these feel good stories, okay? Because don't worry, I'm gonna get to how I feel about that shit in a minute. Now, at this time, we're halfway in, okay? And I'm like, so then we come up on the next matchup that is Kyle Fletcher taking on Mark Briscoe, Owen Hart Cup tournament qualifying match. Why? As once again, I want to see the entrance of the Briscoes reach for the sky, boy. I love Mark. I like the Briscoes, and I want to see Mark Briscoe. But this match didn't need to be on Dynasty, and then not even just it don't need to be on Dynasty. The fact that this match had near falls and kickouts and drama, this match did not need all that. Kyle Fletcher comes out at the beginning, and he attacks Mark Briscoe during his entrance, but they really selling it. Mark Briscoe's throwing in chairs to try to distract the referee so he could use a weapon because it's not disqualification, and then he ends up getting Death Valley Driver on an open chair. And it's like they giving it their all, but the match don't need these wrestlers to give it their all. That's one thing I'm talking about when WWE packing this card. Sometimes certain matches don't need to be on there, or 2, you don't need to do that much for the match. It could just be a simple match. This match really should have been 5 minutes long. This match was 15 minutes long with crazy ass near falls. Like, they was trying to make a 5-star match. Like, Tony Khan wants to have a greatest hits album made with all bangers on the CD, which you can still have that, but you got some songs that get the party going, or it's the come down. He ain't had no come down whatsoever, and I'm like, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe do not need to be doing all this in this matchup on Dynasty, which they probably shouldn't be on in the first place. But anyway, Kyle Fletcher wins with his brainbuster on the top rope finish that he does. So Kyle Fletcher moves on. Then next up, if you thought I was pissed about Kyle Fletcher stuff and this being on the card, I'm even more pissed because I don't like Ring of Honor. So, but what do we have? We had a Ring of Honor championship match, title versus mask, Bandino versus Chris Jericho. Why? Do I like Bandino? Sure. Chris Jericho is my second favorite wrestler of all time. But this is Ring of Honor. That is a Ring of Honor World Championship that you're wearing. Do it on the Ring of Honor show that y'all got coming in about 2 weeks. That don't make no sense. So what? So they can run this back at Ring of Honor without the stipulation other than the championship? Why? Because once again, Tony Khan is a mark, and he wanted them feel good moments because once again we see what happened to Bandino, and it was like. I was like, Bandito not gonna lose his mask? This is not 2000. I mean, shit, the way the booking is, it may be 2000 WCW. But this is not gonna be, we gotta pull all the masks off the luchadors. He's not losing his mask. And why are we doing this match on here? And on top of that shit, why does this match almost get 20 minutes? Why? So towards the end, Jericho takes his baseball bat and hits Bandito in the face with the baseball bat, slides it back between the steel steps, wins the match. Now I was like, well, that's different. That I guess they are probably going to unmask him. Nah. R.B. Hepburn, who wasn't even a referee at the time, during this match, is talking to Bandito's family. They point to the side of the ring steps like, oh, this is where the baseball bat was at. And then they order the match to continue. And then Bandito hits his little ricochet bounce off the ropes, German suplex type finish, and pins Jericho and has the feel good moment and wins the Ring of Honor championship. Fine. Do it on Ring of Honor. That's time wasted already. Now, by this point, I'm in there because this is the match I was like, I'm going to get food. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm doing all that kind of stuff like that because I don't care about any Ring of Honor storylines. And this thing got 18 minutes. Almost 20 minutes. It didn't need that. Now, up until this point, we didn't need the Will Ospreay match versus Kevin Knight, but guess what? It's Will Ospreay. He wanted to be on the show. We didn't need the Hurt Syndicate. We didn't need Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe. That's 3 matches already, and didn't need this one. Now, if you combine the time that all the matches I just said, automatically, you have yourself close to an hour of free time of just ending the show early. But no, that's not what he wanted to do. So then it's time for Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. And I'm going to tell you right now, we were tired. It was like, we didn't care. It was quiet. Other than Adam Cole, baby, doing the chair, nobody cared about the match. Nobody cared about the match. It was like, yo, because really, I was just sitting there like, okay, I didn't record no footage, nothing like that for it. I was like, I don't care. Move on from it. And then Adam Cole hits 2 Panama Sunrises, and then here comes the boom in the back of his head, and he wins the championship. Got off Daniel Garcia, good. Adam Cole got some gold now, finally, good. But nobody cared. Nobody cared. But then it's the match everybody cared for. This match was, in a lot of people that was their main event. It was a 3-way match for the AEW International Championship. We had Kenny Omega taking on Ricochet, taking on Speedball Mike Bailey. Off the bat, let me tell y'all this right now. Let me get this off my chest. I was not a Speedball Mike Bailey fan. Not because he couldn't wrestle. There's something about Mike Bailey I just didn't like, right? In TNA. But then when he left came to AEW, I was just like, okay. I was like, is it the mullet? I don't know. It's something about him I didn't like. This match tonight made me respect him. Made me respect him a whole lot more. This match was awesome. This match was the match of the night. This match felt like this match to me was the main event. And it was main event worthy, and it felt like it. I'm enjoying Ricochet's heel run. Mike Bailey, like I said, is just incredible. And Kenny Omega's going to Kenny Omega. You know what I'm saying? They go to the outside, and then they have those little barricades, and then Kenny Omega is leaning over the barricade. You know, he just got diverticulitis, so all that midsection should be hurting. Ricochet is on top of the barricade. He has Mike Bailey, the Death Valley Driver, and gives him a Death Valley Driver on the back of Omega across the apron. That was a 6 spot. And there was a lot of other 6 spots also, because there was times when they would slap Ricochet's bald head and like Three Stooges stuff that they would do. There was a point where they had this outside dive spot where Kenny Omega, he does a little Terminator get up thing, and he dives to the outside, and then Ricochet comes back in, and he dives to the outside, was on his feet, and then there was a spot where Ricochet goes in, and he's about to try to, he's fighting Mike Bailey in the ring, or on the apron, and then it's like kind of like when he gets tossed out, Mike Bailey jumps, and he moonsaults on the outside. It's kind of hard to explain. I did record it, but it's kind of hard. It was kind of hard to explain, so I do apologize about that. How I'm trying to say, I think I think I can show y'all what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of hard to explain, though. But all that stuff was really great. And then the turn of the matches when Mike Bailey tried to do his little moonsault with the knees, and he landed his knees on the apron. So Ricochet focused on those knees, which became a story in the matchup. And I enjoyed that storytelling in the matchup as well. Because even with Mike Bailey, when he tried to break up pins, he couldn't because his knee was hurt. I like that. And there was the one spot where he was doing like the Karate Kid crane pose, and Ricochet was like, "What are you doing? But that ain't gonna work." And he does it late and crane kicks Ricochet, and it was great. We popped great for that. The finish came when after, as I said, this match about 31 minutes. Oh, the one part I gotta talk about. Now, once again, I couldn't see what Ricochet was talking about because once again I was live there. So he got Tony Schiavone's headset, and he was doing the classic Rock for Backlash. He was like, "Look at this piece of trash." I'm not saying that's what he said, but I'm saying that's when the Rock gets on there, that's what happens. And then, out of nowhere, Mike Bailey runs in and kicks the shit out of Ricochet. The headset goes flying. I thought that was great. But they're in the corner. Mike Bailey's kind of like sitting on top rope. Ricochet trying to take him off, but then Kenny Omega grabs Ricochet as he climbs to the 2. And what happens is he gives Ricochet a avalanched one-wing angel. Mike Bailey falls backwards, but his knee gets caught. He can't get to Ricochet. He can't get to Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega wins the matchup and retains. The match of the night, the best match on there. And I was like, okay, this is good. And this is actually great. And actually, there's people in the crowd that started leaving. Like, Kenny Omega was there. I saw what I needed to see, and he started leaving. I should have did the same fucking thing. Okada comes in, you hear Okada's music come in, the coin drop, he comes out, and we get all hyped for him, he stares at Omega, and Omega leaves. I was like, okay. We sent up for Texas, and then he leaves too. Then we get to this fucking main event. The main event, Swerve Strickland taking on Jon Moxley. It's 11:46 at night. And I already told my son, yo, we not getting out of here if you want to see this match. We not getting out of here because Moxley ain't doing nothing less than 20 minutes. Well, guess what? Moxley gonna give us 30 tonight. First of all, Swerve came out as Static. Okay? Now, once again, for everybody, I'm a comic book guy also. I want everybody to know out there, Static Shock is the name of this TV series. The name of the hero is just Static. Because I heard people say, ex-comics say, he's Static Shock. I'm like, well, that's the name of the cartoon series. The name is just Static. It is. But it was cool, though. I got that whole interest in him coming out as Static. It was dope. I liked the outfit on there. We was doing the Who's House, Swerve's House. The people was really feeling it. The kids that was in there, that was up all late, had the Swerve's House signs. They was feeling it. We was feeling Swerve to get that thing. Please get that damn belt out that fucking briefcase and out of Jon Moxley and Death Rider's hands. They came through the crowd. And in the start, they just start wrestling. Like, I put my hands on my head like this. Like, they're not brawling. They ain't started out no fight. They started wrestling. When a wrestling match starts out with just wrestling, that means one thing. we're getting a full-length match. And I knew it. And I was like, bruh. So, Moxley throws Swerve over the announce table. And then he goes back there and starts choking him. And all of a sudden, Swerve comes up bleeding. And then Moxley got this thing. He was biting this dude all night. I was about to say something I didn't want to say. Biting this dude all night. And then that's how Swerve is bleeding. Then, to fast forward a little bit. Moxley he still steps us out. And then he goes and pulls out a ladder. Now, I personally checked my phone to see the time. He pulls out a ladder at 12:11 in the morning. It's Monday. It's a whole new day. And he's pulling out a ladder at 12:11 in the morning. The fuck? Now he sets the ladder up. And then he's trying to superplex Swerve to the announce table, but no. Swerve fights him off and gives him a swerve stop off the ladder to the announce table. I thought that was cool. Now we get into the Moxley bullshit, right? And then when we get back into the ring, and then Swerve starts, hits a vertebreaker and hits all some of that. You get the near falls. So then Moxley, Marina Shafir gets a chair. And she about to go in there and hit Swerve with the chair. Prince Nana comes in there and says, no, you ain't going to be doing all that. And then Prince Nana gets taken down. I forgot who he got taken down from, because right now I look down, next thing I know, I see him rolling out the ring. Then Moxley goes for a cutter, but then Swerve kind of pushes like Marina Shafir out the way, and then he cutters Marina Shafir, so now she's out. Now Moxley has a chair, and he pushed circle on 2K25 and launches the chair. Swerve gets out the way, hits the referee. There's no referee. Now here come the shenanigans, right? And boy, did the shenanigans fucking come. Because now since both guys are down, here comes Hangman Adam Page. And I was like, what if Hangman helps out Swerve? Because I missed the part on Diamond where he said, I deserve to get my house burned down for what I did. I was like, what the fuck happened? So he's on the apron teasing that he's going to give a buckshot letter to Swerve, that he looks over at Moxley. But then here comes the fucking Death Riders, and Wheeler fucking Yuta comes out there and starts attacking him. And then Hangman fights them off because here come the ops. Here come Samoa Joe and Shibata and Hook and take them guys out. And then Hangman gives Moxley it ain't the buckshot Larry. It's his other finishing move that he has. Oh god, y'all, it's gonna come to me at the worst time, right? He gives that to Moxley. So now Swerve gets Moxley in the corner and goes for his swerve stomp. And then he's selling the knee. There's no referee in there. And then all of a sudden the lights go out. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why are the lights going out? And when the motherfucking lights come back on, do you know who we see?
Oh, the Young Bucks. Damn it.
It wasn't anybody of something that you can think of. It was the fucking Young Bucks. These fucking Young Bucks come back and they sit there and give Swerve their, God, I don't give a fuck what their finishing move is called. Take Swerve out. Moxley crawls over and pins Swerve 1, 2, 3. As soon as the referee counts to 3, the crowd, listen to me, y'all. The crowd, I was like, we out. We out. I stopped the recording. We out. I'm walking down. And I'm like, listen, y'all. I'm like, yo, we out. And I turn and look. You just see the drones of people coming down the steps and coming up the steps. Like, yo, we fucking out of here. Philly was over it. We was fucking over it. And we sat there. And then on top of that, we had to go. I'm at the top of the roof of the parking garage, and I got to make my way down. And we stuck into, because once again, everybody leave at the same time. I said, I knew I should have left with Kenny Omega 1. Or after Swerve's entrance, I should have left. But now we stuck there, and I was stuck in that parking lot, in that parking garage, for about 25 minutes. Now, there's been longer, but the car started flowing, and we got out of here. But once again, yo, for North Philly, ain't nobody trying to be in North Philly at 1 o'clock right now. In the morning, ain't trying to do that right now. I didn't get back home till 1:30. I was done. Tony Khan, what the fuck? Honestly. Because how do you feel as though that's what the fans want? How do you feel that the Young Bucks was running from the Death Riders, and all of a sudden now you're going to make them help out the Death Riders? Why? So we can have the fucking Anarchy in the Arena match at Double or Nothing with the Death Riders and the Young Bucks taking on the Ops and Swerve Strickland and whoever and Hangman Page. What the? Why? We don't have to do that. That made no fucking sense. This was the bullshit ass ending that we have. So now we gotta wait till fucking July, because all Tony Khan wants to do is have that feel good moment of somebody taking the championship off Moxley so they can have his WrestleMania moment. And I'm like, you could have did that by booking it the right way. You didn't even book this show the right way. And you had your fans wait 4.5 hours to sit there and wait to try to see Swerve win his championship and do the right thing, and you didn't even do it. And you sitting there thinking like, this is gold. This is what the people want. Don't nobody want the Young Bucks. Don't nobody want them. It's stressful enough that you want to try to enjoy something. And once again, the Triple Threat match is going to get overlooked. The Tony Storm Mega Bay match is going to get overlooked. The turn on Colt from FTR is going to get overlooked because of the shitty finish that you had. No excuse for that. AEW, like you're turning into WWE in 2019. 2019 was awful. But once again, WWE had the resources to survive. Once again, I don't know. Why would you do some shit like this right before your WrestleMania, before your stadium show in All In Texas, where you can fit up to over 40,000 people, that you only be lucky if you get 12,000 people in there? Why would you do that? But you don't care. This is what happens when you have like strong marks sit there and booking the wrestling, like, this is what you want to do. Like, you got to learn how to do business. And everybody, tell Jericho, get his ass on the Ring of Honor card, and don't come on AEW. He can't be on here tonight. Tell all them Owen Hart tournament guys, like, that shit for Dynamite and Collision, unless it got some heat behind it. As much as I love the Hurt Syndicate, tell them, take that shit to Collision or Dynamite, and guess what? We would have been out there by 10:30. And guess what? We would have had a better reception of the show. And guess what? We would have been more happier. AEW's fucking frustrated. And once again, I give the overall card like a C+. I want to give it a B- because I enjoyed some of the Triple Threat. I enjoyed the Tony Storm. I enjoyed the FTR turn. Like, those were good matches, but they got overlooked. That they can't stick to finish. And I was actually more lenient with Revolution, but I can't be with Dynasty. I can't do that. So it gets a C. It gets a C from me, y'all. I would say go back and check the Triple Threat match out alone, but other than that, no. It pissed me off. That's why I got this on right. I got my Sting AEW shirt on because it reminded me of a better time. And if you want to put 40,000 people in there, get together, Tony Khan. Ain't no excuse, y'all. Like and subscribe and share. I'm gonna make a video about my vlog. I know I put some parts of the video in this video, but I'm gonna do that for you guys this week. So stay tuned for all that. It's Zency a place to be. Children are saying D. And their coalition is out. Do better. Do better.